Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be talking about two Zerjoff fragrances, La Capitale and Erba Pura, so stay tuned for that. If you like first impressions, top 10 lists, fragrance reviews, and cologne comparisons, hit that subscribe button. So we are back again for another First Impression Fridays, and these are two fragrances from Zerjoff, which is a house I do really enjoy, that have been talked about a lot, and a lot of people do really enjoy them, especially Erba Pura, but believe it or not, I haven't had the opportunity to try it yet, and so I did get some samples, and I'm going to be talking about both these fragrances today. First impressions, you know what, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to try La Capitale first. I kind of do have some expectations, at least from what I heard. It's similar to Mula Mula, which is by Byron. Not to go on a rant, but a little disappointed with Byron because they reduced the size of the bottle and have numerously times increased the price, which definitely made me not want to pick up their fragrance. But I'm not sure that, buying a Zerjoff fragrance instead is the best course of action, but we'll see how similar they actually are. Got a good dose on there. I definitely get a bit of sweetness already in the air. It does have this really... so it does remind me a little bit of Mula Mula. And if I recall Mula Mula correctly, I do feel like there's a little bit more peach than I'm getting off this right now. What I'm getting a lot is a little bit of a strawberry note. Very, very sweet, syrupy, thick. The strawberry note does come off, I did see other people mentioning this. The strawberry note does definitely come off a little bit synthetic. There are strawberry notes that smell a little bit more natural, but that doesn't, it doesn't smell bad in a synthetic way. It just doesn't smell, I suppose, like I guess if you want to describe it as a photorealistic strawberry, rather it does smell like a sort of strawberry vibe, but not so much like you're smelling authentic strawberries. Maybe more like actually strawberry pancake syrup or something like that, where it does of course have that vibe, but there's other sweeteners and things in there that do kind of take it away from smelling completely natural. But again, like I said, doesn't smell like synthetic in a bad way. I do definitely get a sort of that vanilla. I think it has vanilla in the base, and I do definitely pick that up. And yeah, very thick. Very sweet. Does remind me of Mula Mula. Similar for sure. And, I think in part that's partially the really big strawberry vibe that it has, along with that other sweet sort of thick facets. But I don't think it's exactly an identical fragrance or a clone, but it's definitely very similar. I can see how they've drawn on some inspiration there. Now, Erba Pura, I guess talked about a lot. A lot of people love it. A lot of people don't like it so much. And this is one that some people described a genre original as smelling similar to. The name is completely eluding me right now. But I really did like that fragrance. Very citrusy. Very citrusy. I was actually expecting this to be maybe a lot more of a candied vibe, but it does have that in the background a little bit, but right off the bat, it was this really nice, juicy, citrusy vibe. Remind me a little bit of like lemons. Still getting that sort of juicy vibe that, some citrus fragrances I find that, the way that the citruses come off almost give me a sort of watery or aquatic feel to them. Not that they have like a true aquatic nature, but like they're just so juicy that to me it feels very watery, very almost a little aquatic. Does have a really nice, a thicker base with a nice citrus top. The citrusy sort of juiciness and that sort of really nice pop that it had is kind of chilling down a little bit. It's sort of melding with the rest of the fragrance. So I think right on the first initial burst, it did have this kind of nice, really apparent citrusy vibe where that is starting to sort of mix in with the rest of the fragrances, become very sweet. Does have a very nice candied vibe. I do pick up a little bit of a muskiness too. Very light, not like a thicker animalic kind of musk, not overly clean either, but just has a nice musky kind of sweetness. Definitely does have a Skittles vibe. So yeah, I can see where people were comparing this to it. I totally forgotten which one it is now, but one of the originals from Genre Parfums does smell very similar to Erba Pura. I would definitely agree with people who have said that. I think this one's a little bit more fruity, does come off a little bit more like actual fruits, whereas the other one, like I said, is bothering me. I can't believe I can't remember the name. Does actually smell like a bowl of Skittles. This has a little bit of that vibe to it. Definitely has a little bit of that vibe to it, but it's totally it does come off more fruity, a little bit more like an authentic fruitiness with a sort of candied vibe as well. A little bit of that muskiness, also bringing it in there. Very, very nice. Actually, really like that one. I see why a lot of people. Talk about Erba Pura. You know, I just recently did a top 5. I think it was top 5 Zerjoff. I mean, off first impression, it definitely would be in contention for top 5. It's very good. But I would need to wear it more and sit with it more. I'm going to go back to La Capitale, see if it's evolved a little bit. It's actually starting to pull away from being like Mula Mula quite a bit. So definitely picking up a little bit more of a like a leathery vibe, which is actually quite interesting. I mean, you kind of have to want to have a sweet strawberry kind of candied fragrance with leather to enjoy. I think what this is definitely giving off right now. And I always appreciate these heavy leather fragrances that are a little bit different. Of course, Tuscan leather is a great fragrance, but there's been so many versions of that fragrance from other brands that, you know, it's nice to see these sort of sweet leathery fragrances branch out a little bit. And this one is definitely doing that right now. Still very prominent syrupy sweet vibe with this one. I do find that the leather is there, but it's not super in your face. But it does definitely have this really nice leathery base. Very nice. I'm gonna go back to the Erba Pura. Gonna check that one out a little bit, see if it's changed, see what's going on with that one. Okay, so Erba Pura, I didn't give it as much time to sort of develop as La Capitale, so I don't expect it to have changed too much, but I guess in the interest of not keeping this video too long, I don't want to spend too much time on either of them. Although I will say that this one does have a little bit more of that Skittles vibe coming into it. Very nice, very enjoyable fragrance. One that I definitely do think is one of their better fragrances. I know they have a lot of fragrances, of course, it's all very subjective, but you know, if I just off picking one of these two fragrances, I would go with Erba Pura. You know, the La Capitale is nice, but I think that it's also in some ways a hard line to tread. It does have this sort of woody, leathery vibe with this really intense syrupy sweetness that is nice, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes the balance is a little bit off between the two, which is, you know, maybe a hard thing to really nail. But, you know, I gotta be, if I'm gonna be really nitpicky and try and pick, you know, which one I honestly think is better, just off this, definitely Erba Pura. I like that really musky, candied, nice, beautiful citrusy opening, but that musky Skittles kind of vibe that it has. Now, these two fragrances very similar in sense of I think they would be very suitable for the same occasions. Definitely fall, winter. Both of them sweet enough, thick enough to be winter fragrances for sure. So I wouldn't wear either of these in the heat just because of how thick they are. I know some people don't really care about that, and that's fine. I would at least say you should probably or would have to go a few less sprays. And I've heard Erba Pura is pretty beast mode. From what other people are saying, I'm not getting really intense sillage right now, but I do get a little bit of both, but I wouldn't rate one as being stronger than the other. They both seem to be on par with performance. It's hard to really know, but I wouldn't, at least off this first impression, they don't seem beast mode, but I'd have to, again, give them more time to really sort that out. Now, like I said, same occasions, same season, occasions. I mean, these do seem a little bit more like evening fragrances going out, where the kind of things where you're doing something with them, like a night out. Could potentially be a formal occasion. They are a little bit candied, so I feel like they're a little bit more playful. So I feel like they're more like a date scent or something when you're going clubbing or to the bar or whatever it is you like to do. These are the kind of fragrances that I think would do that. And if you do like clubbing, they both do seem fairly strong and they are distinct. They're different from Eros, so I think something like Erba Pura especially would be really nice for that. And I do think they're both quite likable, but again, I think Erba Pura is a little bit more easy to like, just because it is more fun and fruity. But in either case, I mean, you could probably wear them dressed up, but I don't necessarily see them in that way. But I think La Capitale with the leather, with the wood, does come across a little more serious, and Erba Pura a little bit more playful. But again, very similar situations, very nice fragrances, both of them. But as I mentioned, the winner for me right now, at least off this first impression, Erba Pura. I'll see how they develop and, of course, perhaps even do full reviews on these fragrances. But have you tried either one of these fragrances? What do you think about them? Or, just let me know what your favorite Zerjoff fragrance is. Leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.